waiting for the Spirit to give me the words. The Spirit's supposed to fill you up, right? It does. The Spirit certainly does. How many of you are cyclists out there? You know, ride your bicycles once in a while just for fun? Yeah, raise your hands. Don't be shy now. I found the other day that I was going to take the day and ride my bike because some music director of mine keeps razzing me for not taking my bike out yet for a long bike ride. I haven't done it yet. So I thought Monday, my day off, I'd take a nice long bike ride. Sunny, about in the 70s, the gorgeous day. As soon as I go outside, the wind about blows me over. And so I thought, do I really want to ride my bike in the wind? I mean, it's okay to walk, maybe even run in the wind, but how is it like riding your bike in the wind? And what I find, too, is if I'm riding my bike, usually the wind's in my face, and it's uphill. And so I think when I come back, the wind's in my face, and it seems like I'm going uphill. Same thing. And sometimes the wind blows me from the side, and I kind of try to get my balance, and sometimes it throws you off a bit. And you keep going, but it's hard. You keep gearing down, because it's, and then you're spinning your wheels and spinning your feet and going. It doesn't seem like you're going anywhere. But when the wind's at your back, boy, I tell you what, that's nice. That is really nice when that happens. But it doesn't seem to happen very often. You know, God is depicted oftentimes as wind or fire, and we have both those descriptions in the chapter of Acts that we read, that Dave read. And thank you, Dave. Those are hard names. You aced it perfectly. We're going to use common names like Economwalk and Pewaukee and Waukesha and Cedarburg and things so people would know, but you did a great job with those. Yeah, anytime. But even Minnesota. Even the Spirit goes there once in a while. Yeah, the Spirit shakes us up. Oftentimes we have a set plan in mind, and sometimes the Spirit pushes us off and we don't know where we're going to go. Sometimes it's just a matter of trust. And sometimes it's a good thing for us to follow. Well, often it's a very good thing to follow. I wanted to talk a little bit about what the Spirit is and what it does and how it appears. I want a show of hands of those who have had some kind of spiritual direction that they can't explain or put their finger on, but it's something impelled them to do something or see something or be knowledgeable about something. They have no idea how it got there. Yeah, people often come apologetically to me and say, well, I kind of feel bad, but I think I saw the Christ, or I saw a Spirit talking to me, or in my presence, and I say, well, I wouldn't be much of a spiritual director if I discounted all those things, would I? It happens to us. It happens to all of us. At some point or another, sometimes we're led in directions we don't have a clue where we're going or why. And I think you've felt sometimes something just feels right, and you do it. And it was right. And you continue on your journey. Sometimes as we're going about our days, and I'm guilty of this too, I like to have a to-do list so I can check off what I've done each day. And sometimes my list gets pretty long, and sometimes I don't make very many checks because sometimes the Spirit blows in somebody in my office and we have a chat and talk. Or something, I get a phone call, I need to be redirected somehow, somewhere else. But oftentimes I'm cranking on my list. I like to get things done. I like to see things happen. And so as I'm checking off my boxes during the day, I feel like I've accomplished a lot of things, and I have. But sometimes I get so caught up in completing my to-do list, I don't take the time to listen. I don't take the time for quiet meditation or prayer. And sometimes oftentimes I really need that. Sometimes I don't hear what the Spirit's telling me because I'm too busy checking my boxes on my to-do list. But the Spirit will get you. You know, whether if you're busy during the day, maybe it'll come in a dream at night, or some other time as you're driving your car, or with your family in something or another, you'll get the nudge for the Spirit. For me, the Spirit is a gentle nudge most of the time. It's not a wham bam, here I am kind of thing. Sometimes it's saying, I'm here, don't forget me. And I want to forget because it's something I may not want to do. But it keeps at it and keeps at it. Gentle nudges until sometimes I give in. And thank God I do. Because wonderful things happen when that happens. We all have that sense of otherness, I think, that we know there's something else besides what we see and feel and hear and touch. There's something more. There is that advocate. We can sense it in our lives. We can sense it in our hearts. We hear the Spirit talking to us in many ways. Sometimes it's in flesh and blood, a friend, a family member, possibly even a stranger. As an example, I remember being an intern in Allentown, Pennsylvania. We had a big church, and we also had a big parsonage connected to it. And the parsonage was in disarray. I had never been in it. I guess the floors are not doing well. It had a lot of issues. There was some family had lived in it and just didn't take care of it. But at one time, a guy from the street, a homeless guy, came up to us, both Pastor Zeiser and myself, and he was talking about, he led us out to the alleyway where the parsonage was. And he said, you know, this would be a great, great thing for youth, this building right here. You could turn this into a youth center for the kids in the neighborhood. Because I have seen kids in this alley using drugs and doing other things. Not very helpful for kids. They're wandering around with no direction at all. And they're getting into trouble. And wouldn't this be a great, great thing for kids to have? And as the man went on his way, Sam and I went to his office and I said, that was God right there. That had to be Spirit-led. It just had to be. We need to do something about this. We didn't expect that to happen, but it did. So many things can happen for us from the Spirit. The same Spirit that Peter talks about, that appears in Acts, the same Spirit that Jesus talks about. The advocate, the companion, the one who walks alongside of us, giving us sometimes comfort, giving us sometimes direction, giving us peace sometimes when we need it the most. It opens up the windows of possibilities for us. Takes us in places we sometimes don't want to go. Pentecost. The celebration of that Spirit, the recognition of the Spirit in our lives. Special emphasis put on that so that we can remember that, yes, we're not alone. We have a sense that we're not, and we have friends to let us know that we're not. But this is something bigger. This is the presence of God in our lives. Jesus made promises to his disciples, and makes disciples and promises to us as well as his disciples, that we're not abandoned. Even though we can't see and touch the wounds in Jesus' hands and feet, and feel the breath on our face, his breath on our face, we still sense the Spirit that Jesus has given to us, that God has provided for us. We have Spirit events sometimes. Sometimes we go along and we want to control things, and sometimes we need to take charge of certain things. Sometimes we want to take the Spirit, put him in a box, and put him there and say, this is what I want to happen now. Okay, let's have it happen. You're walking alongside me. I want you to do what I want you to do. And like the breath of God going over the waters at the creation of the earth, that went to and fro, and just kind of where it would go, it would go. And sometimes the Spirit for us is the same way. We can't control it. Sometimes we don't even see it coming. The Spirit is free to go where the Spirit will go. Not a lot of control over the Spirit. We think of Memorial Day. We think of battles that have been fought. We think about the soldiers who lost their lives. We think about a lot of things whose I don't know how to describe it. During wartime, there are events that have to be Spirit-led. There have to be events. The instance of the Germans and the English fighting on Christmas Day, you can hear one of the sides started to sing a Christmas carol, and the other side started to join in, and hostilities were ceased as both sides were singing the same Christmas carol in different languages. Wartime is not a good time for anybody. But the Spirit also rests on those who are in the wars. If you've been in the wars, you know that the presence of God can sit next to you in the bunker, in the foxhole, or the tent, or wherever you are. The Spirit also resides also in your enemy, which is a hard thing to bear. The Spirit of God shows no particularities, but is with all of God's creation and creatures. We celebrate the lives of all who have lost their lives. Because God is inclusive, God doesn't distinguish between any particular body, but tries to be with all. Even the ruler of this world, as Jesus said, has been condemned. That's Satan, who ruled and sometimes ekes at us on a daily basis. And yet God, Jesus, has told us that the Spirit has now defeated the Satan. That we can be free and that we are free. And the Spirit is free to move among us. So as we ride our bikes down the road, remember the Spirit of God is the same way. It pushes us as it will. Sometimes head on, sometimes at our backs. But we know the Spirit is with us. Whether it's sometimes in our face, pushing us one way or another, or at our backs giving us assistance to whatever we're doing. God is with us always. And it's not for us to hold on to, but yet to give freely as well. Sometimes when I'm driving in 65 miles an hour and Ariana wants to open the window, so she opens the back window of the car. And only the back window of the car. So you hear this and you feel this thump, 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 thump as the wind is coming in. It has nowhere to go. They open up another window and let the wind go. Open up our hearts and let the Spirit flow through us to others. Let us care for each other. Let the Spirit dwell within us so that we can dwell with other people, that we can abide with other people as well, as the Spirit directs us. God is with us in spirit. Thus we have the Pentecost. Amen.